he takes absolutely no joy in this whatsoever. And he also doesn't want anyone to remotely think that he wanted this, that he wanted Saul to die so that he could take the kingship. Because if the people believe that, then they're not going to accept him as their new king. And he didn't need to do that because God had already promised that he was going to be the king one day. So there's no reason for him to hurry it up by violence. God is going to give him that in his own time and in his own way. And if God's giving it to him, he doesn't have to take it prematurely, right? And so he's trusting that God is going to do things in his own time, in his own way. And he respects that Saul is the king until God removes him. He's not going to remove him, and he's going to let God do that. And he's going to respect him as the king until he isn't any longer. And he wants the people to do the same thing. And so that got me to thinking about us. First of all, do we take joy in the pain of people that have hurt us? It would have been easy for David to take joy in the fact that the man that's been trying to kill him is now dead. That makes full sense. But he doesn't do that at all. I'm sure that's why the man thought he would be happy about it, right? But he's not. And so we shouldn't be either. We shouldn't be taking joy in the pain of anyone, even people we don't like or people that have been trying to hurt us. But more in this part of the story, what we can learn is that we should respect God's timing and God's way of doing things. Do we trust God to raise up leaders and remove leaders according to his time and his way? And are we willing to respect and follow them until God removes them? Or are we like, I don't care, I don't accept you as my leader, I'm not going to do what you say? Listen to what it says in Romans 13, 1-7. Let every person be subject to the governing authorities, for there's no authority except from God, and those who exist have been instituted by God. And so God, in like our government nowadays, he may not select our actual leaders. We get to vote on those things, and so we select those leaders. But he has instituted government in itself and given people authority in government. He's given people authority in administratively. He's given them authority legislatively. He's given them authority to execute the laws and make judgments on them. And so we are supposed to respect the authorities that God has put in place, and then just use our means to either push back on them or to stand up for the things that we believe in with our votes and with our voice. But we do have to respect the people that are in office and pray that God will remove those people if there's a reason to, and work within the system as best we can, because God has set that up. Verse 2, therefore, whoever resists the authorities resists what God has appointed, and those who will resist will incur judgment. For rulers are not a terror of good conduct, but to bad. Would you have no fear of one who is in authority? Then do what is good, and you will receive his approval. For he is God's servant for your good. But if you do wrong, then be afraid, because he doesn't bear the sword in vain. For he is the servant of God, an avenger of the one who carries out God's wrath on the wrongdoer. Therefore, one must be in subjugation, not only to avoid God's wrath, but also for the sake of conscience. For because of this, you also pay taxes, for the authorities are ministers of God, attending to this very thing. Pay to all what is owed them. Taxes to whom taxes are owed, revenue to whom revenue is owed, respect to those who respect is owed, and honor to those whom honor is owed. And so this stands for our government, which they've set up. It also stands for our church leaders who God has appointed and has the ability to remove or raise up. First Peter 2:13-17 says, "Be subject for the Lord's sake to every human institution, whether it be to the emperor as supreme, or to the governors as sent by him to punish those who do evil and to praise those who do good. This is the will of God, that by doing good you should put to silence the ignorance of foolish people. Live as people who are free, not using your freedom as a cover up for evil, but living as servants of God. Honor everyone. Love the brotherhood. Fear God. Honor the emperor." So respect the authorities, work within the system to, get rid of them or lift them up, but respect them while they're in the office. Now, another thing that we can learn from David is that he set aside his own personal difficulties with Saul for the good of the nation. And he specifically says he has been good for the nation. And we know this because we've been following, and Saul is the one who instituted the very first trained army. They'd never had that before. They came in as a collective men into the land of Israel and fought together. But once their territory separated, then they haven't been this united and they haven't had a trained military. And Saul is the one who gave them that. The time of the judges, there was no real unity for them as a nation and no trained military, and they have all of that because of Saul. That's the reason that he says, he's clothed you in gold and in luxurious scarlet, because he's saying, this man has benefited you. He fought off your enemies, he made you important, and you owe a lot to him. Even though it might have benefited David for Saul to be dead because Saul's not trying to kill him anymore, it didn't benefit the nation for their enemies to have killed their king. That's definitely not a good thing for the nation. And so he is caring more about the nation than he is himself. And so, are we able to do that? Are we able to set aside our own personal issues with a leader for the good of the rest of the people? Are we able to look past those things and say, maybe I've had difficult times with them, but they've been good for other people. They've done good things for a lot of people, and as a nation, they've done good things. And I'm going to focus on those things and not on the things that he's done for me. This isn't about me. This is about the whole nation, or the whole church, or the whole community, or whatever. Are we able to do that? And if we are we willing to say it publicly? Are we willing to publicly say about someone that we have had problems with, hey, I may not agree with everything about them, but I agree with this. This is one of the things that I think they're doing a good job on. Or I can see why those people would like him because he has benefited them in this way, and that makes sense to me. I personally just don't like the rest of the things, and understand that the leader may be good for some other people. And then keep our own negative things to ourselves. Don't advertise to everybody all of the negative things. You don't want them to think bad of this person, because no point. They've done a lot of good things. Let's focus on those. Proverbs 10:12 says, "Hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all offenses." That's what we want to do. If we are going to be loving towards other people, then we want to cover their offenses. We don't want, to walk around blabbing about all the bad things that they've done and causing contention and problems. And then, do we desire the best for other people, even though selfishly it would be better for us if, maybe something bad happened to them? Philippians 2:1-4 says, "If there's any encouragement in Christ, any comfort of love, participation in the Spirit, any affection and sympathy, complete my joy by being the same mind, having the same love, being of full accord and one mind." Do nothing from selfish ambition or conceit, but in humility count others more significant than yourselves. Let each of you look not only to your own interest, but to the interest of others. So, what he's saying is, I want you to be unified. I want you to care about the collective more than you care about yourself. And I want you to look individually to other people and say, hey, you're important. And I'm going to set my own needs aside for yours. That's what David did here, and that's what we should do also. And then lastly, David didn't just care about Israel, and he didn't just respect the office. He loved Saul. You know, he had no problems with Saul. Saul's the one that had a problem with him, and it's just because he got jealous. He used to be Saul's family, basically. He lived there with him and Jonathan like they were family. And so he didn't want to have a problem with him. He had to leave the whole country because of Saul. But now he's free to grieve him and their relationship and the person that he loved. And sometimes whenever people are attacking us, whenever people are hurting us, whenever someone has betrayed us or caused us pain, we are so busy defending ourselves or protecting ourselves that we might forget I actually care about this person. This is a person that I used to have really good relationship. We had good times together. I love them. But if we could possibly get away from the situation long enough to stop having to defend ourselves, then we might be able to say, I'm not going to protect myself anymore. I'm going to risk the fact that I might get hurt again, and I'm going to go to that person. I'm going to try to reconcile because I do love them. And, we have a problem with each other because of this one thing that happened, but it's just been this one thing, and I really want to fix it because I care about them. That might be the catalyst to healing our relationship, just getting a little bit of distance and remembering, hey, I love them and I don't want this fight. And, sadly, this doesn't happen for them until Saul has passed away, but maybe it could happen for us if we would just take a little bit of time, sit down, think about it, and say, I'm not going to protect myself anymore. I love this person. This is the reason that I love them, and I'm going to try to make this work. And so David did the right thing, right? The other man thought that he was going to be happy. He thought that, it only made sense to him, but David didn't act in the way that would be natural to everyone to act. And he said, "No, I take no joy in this. Take no joy in his pain. I take no joy in the fact that their enemies just killed the king. I definitely take no joy in the fact that my best friend has passed. And so none of this is good news for me."